Today we are going to discuss about ovaries. Ovaries are the two female gonads which are present on either side of the uterus. That are they have the size of almonds, and the shape is also, it looks like almonds, and the color is grayish in color. Location: ovaries located in ovarian fossa on lateral pelvic wall just below the pelvic brim. Axis: axis in nulliparous woman, the axis is vertical axis. That means this is nulliparous woman axis, that will be vertical axis like this. And in multiparous woman, the axis of the ovary will be horizontal, it will be like this. External features: ovaries consisting of two poles, two borders, two surfaces. Poles: it is having upper pole and lower pole. You can see over here it's having two poles. This is one pole, this will be upper pole, and this will be lower pole. The upper pole, it is related with the suspensory ligament, which is a part of again broad ligament of uterus. So here the suspensory ligament starts from the upper pole and it connects, on one side it is connected with the upper pole of the ovary, and another side it is connected with the lateral wall of the pelvis. This one, this is the lateral wall of the pelvis, and this is the upper pole of the ovary. So this ligament is suspensory ligament, which permits the blood vessels and nerves and lymphatics of the ovary. Lower pole: the lower pole, it is connected with uterus, the body of the lateral angle of the uterus, through a ligament, and the name of the ligament is ovarian ligament. So two poles are there. One pole is related with the suspensory ligament and one pole is related with the ovarian ligament. Borders: it is having two borders. One is the anterior border and one is the posterior border. The anterior border is related with the mesovarium. So to understand this mesovarium, you have to see, for example, this is the ovary, which is having anterior border and posterior border. So the anterior border of the ovary, so here for that you need to understand one more thing, that is the broad ligament of uterus. The broad ligament of uterus is having two layers. Okay, it's the anterior layer and one is the posterior layer. So these are two layers of the broad ligament. On one side they are connected to the lateral border of the uterus, and then they are going toward the lateral pelvic wall another side. And once they reach the ovary, anterior border of the ovary, now we will remove the anterior layer. Now this is the posterior layer of the broad ligament of uterus, and this posterior layer of broad ligament of uterus, once it reaches the ovary, then it takes a backward turn and it covers entirely, it covers the ovary and again come forward like this. So now this one is the posterior layer of broad ligament toward the uterus, and this is the posterior layer of broad ligament of uterus toward the lateral wall of the pelvis. So once it reaches the anterior border of the ovary, here it is taking backward turn and covers the entire ovary. Now here this backward turned portion of the broad ligament, we call it as the mesovarium. So mesovarium is another nothing but an extension of the broad ligament which suspends the ovary. And top, when you trace it upward, it covers the fallopian tube. Okay, so anterior border, a small area is having a gap, and through this gap only all the blood vessels and nerves and veins are entering and leaving the ovary. So this is called, also called as hilum of the ovary. So this hilum is formed because of this backward turn, like this. Now when you see, you can add this anterior layer of the broad ligament of uterus. So anterior layer is straight horizontal, but posterior layer of the broad ligament, it takes backward turn to cover the entire ovary and leaving a small space over here, which is called as hilum of the ovary. So, and just behind the ovary, that is the posterior border, it is related with the ureter. The ureter is just straightly descending down like this. Just behind the ovary, the ureter is just descending down. So anterior border related with the mesovarium, posterior border of the ovary related with the ureter. So posterior border is free, no structure is getting attached. So ureter is also just not touching it, just a small space exists between the posterior border of the ovary and ureter. Now surfaces, it's having two surfaces. One is the medial surface and the lateral surface. Now the peritoneal relations. Ovary attached to posterior layer of broad ligament, which is mesovarium, we have already discussed, and two more ligaments we are going to discuss over here is a ligament which is extending from the lower pole to the lateral border of uterus, and this ligament we call it as a ovarian ligament. And from the upper pole, a straight extension toward the lateral pelvic wall, and this ligament we call it as a suspensory ligament. And a portion of the broad ligament existing between the fallopian tube and ovary, we call the whole area, this whole area we call it as a mesovarium. So this area is called as mesovarium. So here three ligaments are related with the ovary. One is the mesovarium, which is a part of broad ligament of uterus. Suspensory ligament, again, which is a part of broad ligament of uterus, and ovarian ligament, and it's a separate ligament and it exists between the two layers of the broad ligament of the uterus. Arterial supply. Arteries of the ovary, the arteries which are supplied to the ovary, they are called as gonadal artery. Just we have seen the gonads are supplied with gonadal arteries, the testis is testicular artery, and for ovary you have the ovarian arteries. So always remember, gonadal arteries are always directly coming from the abdominal aorta. Okay, and the remaining pelvic organs, they get blood vessels through the internal iliac system, but the gonads, that is the testes and ovaries, they directly get blood supply from the aorta. So just when you see over here, this is the aorta, abdominal aorta, and you have the common iliac arteries. So directly from the aorta, the blood vessels are coming, and these blood vessels, they enter the suspensory ligament of ovary and they go and supply over here. So the name of this artery is called as ovarian artery. And from the internal iliac artery, you have uterine arteries are coming and supply the uterus. The uterine artery, they are coming from the internal iliac artery, and this internal iliac artery, after supplying the uterus, after giving branches to the uterus, it also gives a small branch to the ovary, which is called as ovarian branch of the uterine artery. So uterine artery coming from internal iliac, ovarian artery directly coming from abdominal aorta, and there is an anastomosis between the ovarian branch of uterine artery and ovarian artery, which is directly coming from the abdominal aorta. So here you can find the anastomosis between the uterine artery. This is uterine artery, and here you have the ovarian artery directly coming from the abdominal aorta. The course you have to observe here, they are entering through the suspensory ligament of the ovary. So we have two sources: ovarian arteries, which are also called as gonadal artery, direct branches coming from the aorta. That level is L1, first lumbar vertebra, and the level of origin of this ovarian artery. And ovarian branches of uterine artery, they are coming from internal iliac, and you can see this course. And the anastomosis, there is anastomosis between the ovarian artery and uterine artery, ovarian branch of uterine artery. Venous drainage. The veins drain into through the veins drain through the veins of the ovary. They form a plexus. The veins of the ovary, they form a plexus over here, and this plexus, which is called as Pampiniform plexus, they form a Pampiniform plexus here, and this plexus, it passes through the, now they form the ovarian vein. So just behind the fallopian tube they are going, and now it is called as ovarian vein. So ovarian vein on the left side, it arises from the plexus over here, and then this ovarian vein, it straightly ascends up and opens into left renal vein. And on the right side, the similar, they form the plexus, but the Pampiniform plexus, and this plexus, they form a single vein which runs behind the fallopian tube within the suspensory ligament, and this vein is called as right ovarian vein, directly drains into inferior vena cava. We have already studied that in testis also, right testicular vein directly drains into inferior vena cava, left testicular vein drains into left renal vein. The same, because both are gonads, there we have the testis in males and here ovaries in females. Both are gonads, so both have the similar blood supply, similar venous drainage. So right ovarian vein, this is ovarian vein of the right side, this is right kidney, right renal vein, left renal vein. So right ovarian vein from this Pampiniform plexus, it ascends through the suspensory ligament of ovary and directly drains into inferior vena cava, and left ovarian vein from this Pampiniform plexus, it drains directly to the left renal vein. Lymphatic drainage from ovary, both the ovaries, okay, they drain into, so here you can find the aorta, that is the abdominal aorta, and this is the common iliac arteries, this is also right common iliac, left common iliac artery. So the lower part of the abdominal aorta, the lymph nodes are existing just in front of the aorta, that is called as pre-aortic. Pre means just in front, before. Pre-aortic lymph nodes, and on each side of the aorta you have lateral lymph nodes, which are also called as para-aortic lymph nodes. Both sides. Here also you have a set of pre-aortic lymph nodes and two sets of para-aortic. So lymphatics drain into pre and para-aortic lymph nodes. Nerve supply. Nerve supply, as you are aware that ovaries, they are under control of hormonal system through anterior pituitary gland, through follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. But there is a sympathetic innervation and also parasympathetic. So autonomic nervous system, thoracolumbar is sympathetic and craniosacral will be parasympathetic. So T10 segment and T11 segment gives sympathetic supply to the ovary. This is sympathetic innervation. Parasympathetic nerve supply, they coming from the S2 segment, S3 segment and S4 segment. So S3 segment, the sacral segments. The sacral segment S2, S3, S4 segments give parasympathetic innervation to the ovary. But the main functions of the ovary, they are under control of hormonal system. Applied anatomy. Ovarian cysts. The ovarian cysts are found, often they are very small cysts, and in rare cases you can find the larger cysts also. The ovarian cysts mostly they found due to developmental arrest of ovarian follicles. Second, ovarian carcinoma. The ovarian carcinoma, 15% of the cancers, out of all the cancers of the female, 15% of the cancers in females that they occur due to carcinoma of the ovary. So ovarian carcinoma, it can be of two types, the origin of this carcinoma. So it can be from epithelial cells, the ovarian epithelial cells, also then uncontrolled growth that leads to carcinoma, or the non-epithelial cells. The non-epithelial cells, you can say the germ cells, or you can say follicular cells. If the cancer cells, they proliferate from these follicular cells or germinal epithelial cells, we call it as a non-epithelial origin of the ovarian carcinoma. If the ovarian stroma, the epithelial cells proper, okay, when those cells they divide uncontrollably, we call it as a epithelial origin of the ovarian carcinoma. And in breast, we have already studied the secondary deposits from the breasts. The cells may fall down onto the ovary and they can cause carcinoma in the ovary. So carcinoma of breast, CA breast leads to CA of the ovary. Carcinoma of the breast leads to carcinoma of the ovary because of the cancer cells, due to gravity they fall down from the lower quadrants of the breast. They may fall down and they lodge on the ovary. That leads to secondary tumors, and this secondary tumors we call the Krukenberg's tumor. So Krukenberg's tumor mainly due to carcinoma of the breast. The breast carcinomatic cells they fall on the ovary, that causes carcinoma of the ovary. Referred pain. Pain in the ovary often referred to, you can feel the pain in the umbilical region, and because the nerves of the sympathetic supply to the ovary and sensory innervation to the ovary, both are coming from the T10 segment of the spinal cord. So pain in the ovarian region, ovary, that is referred to umbilical region. So if we feel any pain in the umbilical region, we can suspect any disease of the ovary. Teratoma of the ovary, it is often occurs due to germ cells tumor, uncontrolled growth of the germ cells of the ovary. And in this ovary, the teratoma, the ovary which is having teratoma, the cells, you can have all the three ectodermal cells, endodermal cells and also mesodermal cells. They lodged and they form hair, teeth or muscle cells or bone cells. Often they appear in the teratoma of the ovary. That's it. Thank you.